Hello, Work Pathfinder. Welcome. This week in our Character, Ethics and Value campaign, The Secret of the Top 1%, we're looking at the leadership principle, listening. We're looking at the leadership principle, listening. This is such a powerful attribute for people who want to succeed in our relationship and in our business. So let's look at what it means to be a good listener. What does it mean to be a good listener? To listen means to make an effort to hear others, effort to pay attention, effort to give heed or take advice. The book of Proverbs says, a wise man will listen. What do they mean by saying that a wise man will listen? This is saying that we are wise, when we become good listeners. It's wisdom to become a good listener. So as you listen, you become wiser. And it is wisdom also to be a good listener. So why do wise people listen? People listen because they know that they learn by listening. The only way to learn is by listening. If you want to learn from others, if you want to learn from situation, if you want to learn from circumstances, you learn by what? By listening. You need to know this. Wisdom is not an inherited gift. We do not inherit wisdom. Okay? Rather, it is acquired. How is it acquired? Through paying attention when we listen and when we learn. Wisdom is acquired when we pay attention, when we listen and learn. And this listening and learning is done by observing and taking time to understand. You observe and you take the time to understand. So the end product of listening is what? That you gain understanding. That's the end product of listening. You have listened well when at the end of the day you understand the situation, you understand what is being communicated. That's when we say that you are listening. Listen to this. One of the greatest attributes for business and relationship success is the ability to understand the needs of others. So that's why listening is powerful, because the end product of listening is understanding. But in this case, we are talking about understanding the needs of others. Why is this so? It is so because most times the word that people speak does not fully express their latent need. It doesn't express their need, especially their latent need. What is latent need? Latent need are usually needs that people have that is not even obvious to them, not to even talk about being obvious to others. So you can imagine coming to a marketplace where you have the ability to identify the needs that people have that they are not aware of. That will give you, a comparative advantage in the marketplace. Okay, so we need to know this. It is the awareness of the message beyond the word that is being spoken, and the seeking of insight, beyond what we are hearing and what we are seeing, that reveals to us the latent need that people have. Okay, so you need to look beyond what they are speaking. You need to seek insight beyond what you are hearing and what you are seeing. This is the only place, and you can only do this through what? The habit of listening. This is so powerful. Okay? All right? So, what happens? Generally, we come to a superficial knowledge of things. Okay? But there's a place to be, and only those people who make the effort to listen and observe can see beyond the superficial. So, this is very important. That's why, listening is very powerful. Good listeners are truth seekers. They seek the truth. We're going to find out that. You can give a lot of reasons, in your communication, but they want to go beyond the reasons you have given to understand the truth behind it. Another attribute of good listeners is that they are thinkers, because they have to think, and they love quiet time to review what is inside of them. So you find out that this is a very, important attribute of listeners, because they listen to themselves. One of the best insights you can have are the insight that comes from you yourself. Okay, so if you want to understand things, you can ask yourself questions, and you hold on to the questions in your mind for a very long time. Your mind will produce answer. This is the best way to learn and get insight and get revelation about things that you want to know. Coaches generally believe that every man have their own answer to their own challenge inside of them. You have the answer. Your answer is not outside. It's not in another man. It's not everywhere. Every answer you need is inside of you. So what coaches does is what asks you coaching questions, that probes and get you to go inside to go and find the answer. At the end of the day, you come to a place of awareness where you come to understand the problems that you have, or the solution to your problem, your own solution to your problem. That's why listening is powerful. So I want to tell you that yes, it's not enough to listen, okay, but we must hear. It's not enough to do the effort to listen, we must hear. And listening is not just hearing until we understand, okay? We are not hearing until we do what? We understand what the other party is trying to convey above the word that they are speaking. This is very powerful, okay? So one major reason why we need to form the discipline of listening is because what we hear is usually colored, okay, by our emotion. The things we hear, that's why we need to pay attention. It's usually what? Colored by our emotion. So sometimes we judge the word of others by our own perception, our own emotional state at the time we are hearing it. We hear the word and we form our own opinion based on what we think we heard and interpret it with our own feeling from our past experiences. So you find out that our emotions usually color, the things we hear, and that's why we need to learn the skill of listening. Every time we hear, what happened? The hearing process goes into a process based on our hearts, based on our disappointment, based on our success or accomplishment. Okay, and as a result, what happened? We judge according to this emotion. Sometimes this is called you read into, okay, what you are hearing. So when someone is speaking about any topic, what happened? We immediately respond in our mind, often defending our own position instead of listening, because our listening is always, what we hear is always colored by our emotion. So while the person is still speaking, what do? We are thinking and preparing a response, an answer, even before we finish hearing what the person is saying. So this is not a good way to listen, and that's what the problem that most people have, okay, especially in the marketplace. We need to learn to listen so that we can communicate better with our customer, so that we can have understanding. So if you always rub your hearing with your emotion, okay, you won't get understanding, and that's not the way of wisdom. This is very powerful, okay? So we need, so if you are going to be successful in the marketplace, this is very important. In building business, in building personal relationship, we need to take the initiative to listen until we know what the people are really saying, what they are really passing across, what they need before we respond, okay? Whatever your response is, either in product development, either in verbal response, either in taking action, we need to get to the point of understanding. So when we get to the point of understanding, what we're going to discover, okay, how better we can help people by being patient and listening attentively before responding. Patience, listening attentively before we respond, by paying attention to the message behind their word and watching their body language. So when we do this, what happens? We can understand better. So this is what listening entails. It entails listening, watching the body language. It entails going beyond the message that you are hearing. It entails paying attention. At the end of the day, you have a better understanding of what they are trying to communicate with you. This attribute is so key in new product or service development in the marketplace, okay, and also as a salesman. You'll be surprised to hear this. One of the greatest attributes of a good salesperson is not talking, but is listening. We're going to find out as we continue. The best salespeople are better listeners than talkers. So if you are always talking, you might not succeed in sales and product development. So let's look at product development, as it relates to listening. To develop a service and a product that people want, you must first understand what they need, especially the needs that they have that is obvious, that is not being met. Now it's called your met need. And the need that they have, they're not aware that it's not obvious, and they are not aware that they have, which is the latent need. And the only way that you can, identify these two needs is if you develop, okay, the skills of listening. So let's also look at being a salesperson. For you to be a great salesperson, okay, you must know how to ask great questions. In fact, sales is about asking the questions about the need and the wants of other people. So if you know how to ask great questions and you don't know how to listen, you won't be able to take advantage of your questions. So as a salesperson, for example, what kind of questions are you asking and you listening to? You are asking questions about the present situation of your clients. You are asking questions about their past, and you are asking questions about their future. For example, current question is question if they could change anything in their situation right now, what would they change? You are trying to understand where they are right now. So you are listening to understand if there's one thing they need to change, in their situation, what will it be? So you understand what their greatest need is. You can ask questions about their past. Find out where they have been before, what they have tried in the past that did not work, and the purpose is for you to dig out the pains they are going through. So if somebody has been trying something over and over and over and over again, it's because he's trying to achieve something. So if you learn how to listen and ask great questions, what happened, you will find out the pains they are going through. Okay. And in the future, you can ask questions like, okay, if you solve this problem, what does that going to mean? What difference is it going to mean in your future? So you know how important that challenge is. So when you go through this, you understand clearly, okay, with listening skill, you can tell what they are saying and what they are not saying, and you'll be able to, okay, identify their problem. So when you make proposal for sale, you are speaking their language. You are coming from their point of needs. You are coming from their point of pain, their pain point. You understand their pain point clearly, and what happened, okay, your marketing message, your sales message can resonate clearly, emotionally with them. And what happened, they will yield to it. So the skill of listening is very, very powerful. So let's look at steps we can follow to develop this skill. The first one is that learn to concentrate. Make an effort to comprehend what is being communicated. You need to understand what is being communicated. You need to hear their thoughts. You need to hear their feelings. You need to hear their concept as they are being transmitted. This is very important. 2, ask questions to make sure you understand. This question is about trying to understand, so you ask, this brings clarity and avoid jumping to conclusion. Take your time before responding. Ask questions to make sure you understand what is being communicated. Dedicate time to listening. Okay, very important. This is a duty, not an option, because listening is the best form of learning. So if you want to learn, you need to dedicate time to do what? To listening. We cannot learn without listening. As people of character, we must dedicate time to listening and observing. As a matter of fact, no questionnaire can bring out the latent need of people in the marketplace. It's only through observation that you can find out the needs that people have that is not obvious to them. You find out through listening, through observation. 4, get involved in discussion. Okay, this gives a place to practice listening. Why? Because in discussion, what happens? You give and you receive. However, when you are in a discussion, you need to take some time to hold back and pay attention carefully. It facilitates your listening skill. Paying attention facilitates your listening skill. 5, seek the truth. Desire to know what is the truth. People will give you several reasons, but what is the truth behind the reasons they are giving? This helps you solve a lot of problems. 6, ask questions. A good way to make sure we understand someone is to repeat what they have said before and ask them. In fact, sometimes most people in the corporate world, they have a lot of problems because when their boss gives them instruction, they don't understand. So one of the ways that you can do that is that you can repeat, what they have heard in an email or whatever, and say, is this what you asked me to do? And they can come back and say yes. In that case, you have clarity, okay? Ask for clarity. It's time to, it is time we spend, and avoid is a time well spent when you ask for clarity. So when you send such email, what happened, and they reply, you have clarity about what. It can be frustrating when your assignments are not clear, when what you need to attend to is not clear. So when you ask questions, you get clarity. As I conclude, it's important to know that we become wise by listening and and we must keep listening, because we can see the value in listening. Very important skill that we need to learn. Make up your mind to become a lifelong learner. So that means you are going to become a lifelong listener. Never to be satisfied with what you know. You can always learn something new, either from the books you read, or the people you interact with, or the situations that you face. So you can also listen to your situation. Not only listening to people, you can listen to your situation. Always increase in learning and understanding. And one way that you can increase in understanding is to develop the listening skill. I hope this was valuable to you. If this was valuable to you, I want you to please, leave your comment, what you think about this topic. If you think that this is going to be valuable to others, also share it with them. And most importantly, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, and do have a blessed day. God bless you.